Okay, so this video is about the TR step recorder. So much stuff in this thing. Let me stop it real quick for 1 second. Wow. All right, so I basically have, let's go out here. There's my drums. These are the drums I pretty much use on everything. Sometimes I'll switch them up and use different stuff, but these are my standard go-to drums. So I created a pattern, go into pattern select, start a pattern, hit record. I'm gonna pick the same pattern just so you see. I set it at 84 BPM with 4-bar shuffle. If you hit remain, it's either real time recording in drumming, finger drumming, or use TR rec, which is pretty much similar to pocket recorder type thing. It's just a step sequencer. All right, so then hit record again. Hit sub pad, pick what you want. So let's look at the kicks I did. Okay. Oops, that's not my first kick. This is my first kick. So you'll see I put on the first kick, right? If you notice right here, let's see if we can zoom in just a little bit more. You'll see bar 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So on bar 1, my first kick, I use the same bar kick pretty much all the way through. If you want to change the velocity, you change the velocity right here, which is pretty much your third. Remember, this is just volume. The rest of these three apply to what's up here. The sub step is what's interesting. You hear those little hi-hat rolls, which I obviously didn't do by hand. So let's take a look at the second kick. Here's the second kick. I have it on the 7 in there. And you'll see that. Okay, so that's pretty standard. If you look at the snare, you'll see the snare on the 2 and the 4. And then you'll see that on each bar that I put the 2 and the 4. 1 through 4, so it's always the 2 and the 4. You can hit shift and start the snare if you want a little bit before or a little bit after by using the start feature, which is kind of dope. I haven't messed with it too much. I'm not comfortable with it, to be honest with you, but I am going to mess with it. I promise I'm going to get after that eventually. All right, so you can see that's pretty self-explanatory. I have 2 hats going. These are 2 hats. So let's take a look at this first one. So they're just staggered, right? And I think I did that all the way through. And on certain ones, so you'll see here, that's where I added in an extra one, and that's where I use the sub step. I'll show the sub step in a second. So you see it. Uh-oh. Okay. All right. So then the other hat, staggered differently, pretty much the same. No extras there. All right, cool. Then I threw this in, which is like a little drum fill roll right here before the, see? So that's pretty much it. You could do that with the sub step by just using the regular snare, and I'll show you that in just a second here. I just wanted to show you this part. All right, let's exit out and stop that. Let's do a new pattern over here. So what I'm gonna do is just go record, press this pattern. Let's do it at 2 bars on this pattern just so for time purposes, because I don't want to sit there and show you that many. All right, we'll go record. Okay, and we'll pick the snare first. So what I was saying about the snare is I usually do a 2-5, right? But if you wanted those snares, let's say you wanted this one to start a little bit late, or a little bit before rather. You see how I put it at 5% and it puts it up here? So it's like nudging. Which is kind of cool because it gives you a little bit of an offset drum. So like if I want like this one, I might take off and put it, oops, I gotta, hold on a second. So there, 5%. So that the snares are not so perfectly on. If you want a little variation in them, you could do that. You could even have them come in a little bit late, maybe 5 or 10%, a little bit late. You can get real crazy and get that drunken swing feel going too with it, where you really get crazy with where you place it. Let's do a hat. We'll keep it simple. I didn't hear hear it. Okay, now we hear it. So we'll do hat. Double check where you left the percentage because it won't. So see, it's late on that. So let's go, or starting too early. I don't mind the hats being a little bit late. So I'm going to put them at like 7. And then if you want to roll, like a hat to roll in there, change the sub step maybe on the next one to like that. Let's try that. Or something like that. If you change it, you gotta, I don't like that at all. Let's try that one. So we got to go in late and no, it's not late. Let's see if we can do, try that. Don't really like that. So you can play with it if this is your vibe. I'm gonna just leave it. Maybe throw an extra hat over here. You could also change the velocity if you want it. Just change it, you know, on each note, so that way you don't have to. And I think I have another video where I showed it where you can use the motion too if you want to get that swing or that. The other trick that I was looking at is change just one row to make the velocity a little late on just one row, but I'm not gonna do that on there. You can kind of see, I'm just showing you a few of the things you can do. So you see I have them all starting a little bit after. Kind of swings it a little bit, right? All right, cool. So let's put some kicks in. All right, so let's do kicks. So on the kicks, I don't want them to start late or early. I want them to start where I put them, or at least not the first kick. Sometimes it can be a little finicky, right? Okay, there we go. So we'll put the kick in on the 1 and the 1. The 1 and the 1. The 1 on the first bar and the 1 on the... I'm going to put, let's see, I'm going to try something with the sub step on this one. Let's try. So it's a little late. Let's try that. So that sub step, when you got the 1 notch in there, it's basically nudging it for you is what it's doing. So if you like that, like I probably would put that one regular and then maybe do 1 there and then 1 here regular. Change the volume on it. So see, you can kind of create a rhythm with that. And I mind you, I'm not a step recorder person. That's not my vibe normally. I just started messing with it really when I started playing the pocket operator, more or less. And then over here, we can create a different one, maybe here. And I'm changing the velocities when I'm doing up here. So one of the cool things I think about that you could use this for, let's say you're not a drummer, that's definitely me, but you're not a drummer and you kind of need some assistance with the SP as you get started, because it's not the same as having a MIDI note where you can just adjust the MIDI note that easy. You have to like you either have to go into the step sequence if you're going to do that. Otherwise, you got to drum that thing in and use the grid to try to help you on. In other words, here's what I mean by that. Let's hit record. We'll pick a new pattern. If I'm not playing on the TR rec and I'm playing on the reel, you have the strength right here, right? So you can turn it all the way up 100. It'll put it right on the grid, on the 16 grid. Or you could just put it at maybe like 50% and do the snares first, right? 3. Right? Then you see the grids there. You can literally change it here. Maybe put it like 25. So I'm just showing you can use the grid if you need it. I know a lot of people won't do that because they don't like it. So exit out, but then let's say you mess up, then you hit record, go back into the same pad, hit the TR rec on, right? Hit record again, pick the kick that you used, and now you can see where the kicks land. Right? And if you need to adjust something, that's sort of like your MIDI for you to adjust. And that's okay. I mean, this isn't bad. It's not my favorite, but it's whatever. Or you could add in a note here or there and use it. So you could use it to your benefit after you play it if you have troubles. I would say if you struggle with drumming, my opinion is do each part individually, or if you want to drum sort of together, just drum like shorter patterns, like 2 bars is plenty. And then just duplicate it. So let's do that. So we just drummed the 2 bar, we want to duplicate it. All you have to do is see pattern edits right there. Click that, press the pattern you want to edit, and it'll show you that it's 2 bars. Hit the menu button, which is the encoder, press it in, and just hit duplicate. And now it's 4. Kind of like in Koala when you hit the button and you duplicate it, right? And you make more bars in the thing. Same principle. So there you go. So now you have 4 measures of the same thing. So when you hit it, right? But let's say you want to fix that, you like it, but you want to change it up a little bit. So hit record, hit the same bar, leave it in TRX, right? If you want to do it that way. And then just go ahead, hit record again. Pick the part you want to change. Maybe you want to change the drums. So now you got on bar 3. Maybe you want to add in, that's a little much. Maybe you just want to add in a few extras. A few extra drum notes or whatever. So drum what you can. The cool thing is you can always go back to that same pad and record over it and add extra pieces in later. It's pretty, now that they added the step sequence, it's pretty free that if you make a mistake, you really don't, I mean, you have an undo by doing shift pattern select, which is undo, but you almost don't need it because you could just go into here and then just remove what you need to do. There's also the option to delete and press the one that you want to get rid of. But anyway, this is just to show you some ideas on the drumming on the SP404. And of course, there's so much more you can do. I think the next thing I'm going to do is the resample stuff. I don't use it often because most of the time I'm drumming into the Ableton, so I can just fix whatever I need in there. But one of the cool things I was figuring out was, let's say if I had a pattern, let's go. What is this? Why is it doing that? For some reason it's not playing that pattern. I don't even know what it's doing. Okay, I must have pressed something. Whatever. Let's try. Oh, nothing's playing. That's weird. Hold on. Am I still in pattern mode? I'm gonna delete, hold on 1 second, sorry about that. Let me delete that. exit out, get out of pattern select. Weird. Interesting. Never had that happen, but we'll moments where you can't hear stuff. That's kind of weird. Oh, I'm sorry. It has nothing to do with SP. That's my own fault. I have my I'm like wondering why I can't hear anything. Let's go back here. I have my computer off and my computer's connected to my sound card, so disregard that. And the sound card goes to sleep when the computer went to sleep. So that's the reason why I did that. So it had nothing to do with anything SP. Oh my, sorry, I didn't mean to blast your eardrums. Okay, so you hear this? All right, so let's say that I want to put an effect on that. Maybe I want to put some more reverb on that. Or, yeah, maybe I just want to put the reverb. So I'm going to pick the new reverb. I'm going to put 80-20 on there. Sounds good. A little much, but actually, let's go 90-10. Okay, whatever. The point, I'm going to show you the point. So the point I'm making is the resample. Sample here. You can sample it with the effects, kind of like what you would do in Koala if you have Koala. So. Okay, there it is. Now you got the effect on there. That was all I was trying to show you. All that. Sorry about that. Delete. All right, I'm gonna get rid of that. So that's a pretty cool thing that you can do. And that's what I want to work on next, is stuff like that. And utilizing the drums. So like I was showing you on the drums, we're on this one, F, where I did a pattern. Oh, let me show you this other trick. I've been meaning to show this too. And it's not a trick, it's more like an idea for a workflow. So let's say you have one kit that one drum kit, like me, I have one drum kit that I use probably the most on most stuff, right? So I keep that kit in the J. You see it's blinking on J? There's the kit, right? And what I did was, if you go to Shift and Project, you'll see I created number 16 is a project that it's basically like my template. So I can, when I need a new project, I'll just copy, like all these projects here are open, right? This project I'll just copy over to another one. This is the first one is the stock sounds and projects, and then these two are ones I've created. So we're gonna go back into project 3, I believe I was on. I think that was the one. Nope, I was in project 4. So back to 4. Okay, that looks right. So yeah, so keep building a kit and putting together whatever your predominant sounds are in a project, and then put it on like 16, and then take that project and just copy when you need a new project. And the cool thing is, because you can change the tempo on each bank, so A, B, all the way through J, you can change the tempo on it. You could, let's say J is off limits on mine because I use this, but outside of that, I can change the tempo on any of those, use the same drum kit, and I don't have to, when I go in and do mute groups, you'll see the mute groups are already set. So and I don't need to, well, they should be set on J. Let's show you here. So you see J right there, there's J. Anywhere you see J, that's all of that, right? So what that means is I don't have to recreate those mute groups for the drums. The drums are already set the way I want them, the way I would use them. And all I have to do is go in and drum. Now, if I want to change the drum sound, of course, you got pitch and all this stuff you can do and change the drum sample if you wanted to. I usually don't do that. I usually just keep it the same. If I want some effect on it, then I'll use effects here, or I might add the effect into Ableton when I'm finalizing. But just for the basic drums, I just want my drums pretty generic, not really not really put too much stuff on it while it's in the SP, just so it stays a basic drum kit. But if you want to, you can do all of that. You can put more into it. And at first, when I first started, what I was doing was every time I start a new project, let's say I'm starting one on F, I go in and load drums, and it just, I think the process is okay. Like if you're gonna do different drums every time you make something, but if you're using the same drums, if you find yourself using maybe 2 to 3 kits, just build a kit in a project and then save the project, right? Have that project on here and just copy the project and start a new project, and then use that same kit for however many, songs you're gonna make within that project. And it's so much quicker. It's less diving into trying to figure out. I mean, it's easy to do. Obviously, you hit there, press the encoder, wait for it to load, sample, pull it there, go to drums, etc., etc. And I still have to do that when I'm bringing in a sound, right? But when it's coming from or if I'm sampling, I can just go straight in. But if I'm not doing that, I don't want to have to go set this stuff up all the time. It's a little frustrating. I'd rather just be quick about it, especially the way I work, which is limited stuff. I usually don't use that much. Yeah, so one day, there's so many videos that go through all the effects. Right now, you'll see MFX, there's 3 pages, right? But the 3rd page is not even full. So that means there's probably going to be 9, 12 more effects I'm sure they're going to add to this page with other stuff. And yeah, so that's just something that's kind of cool, I think. Anyway, all right, this is basically, what is this, Journey Part 4, my SP Journey Part 4. So that's what I'm going to call it. Just wanted to show, I'm rambling now, but just wanted to show you a couple things that I'm doing that I've discovered along the way that's making it a little bit easier. And also that step recording is kind of cool, even though in the past I'm usually not gravitated toward doing that type of thing. Use it to your benefit. It has some benefits in it that's kind of cool, especially with the stutter effects stuff, or like ratchet your hats or whatever, if that's what you use it for. Anyway, that's it. I'm out.